Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to extend warm greetings to you from the UN General Assembly in New York. 2 weeks ago, I received an invitation to prepare this short video message for your meeting and to attend the UN Environment Assembly in May. I was very happy to accept both. I did so because your work this week and that of UNEA in May is directly linked to the number one priority of my presidency, namely kickstarting implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. The SDGs have now been in effect for over 1 month. And while the outcomes of Sendai, Addis, New York and Paris were hugely encouraging, in truth, the real work has just begun. What is crucial now is that we begin to see tangible signals from governments which show that they are serious about implementation. These signals can take various forms. They could include dedicated reviews of existing national development plans or the creation of new plans so as to respond to the core shifts at the heart of the 2030 agenda and the overall objectives of the Paris Climate Agreement. They could include dedicated legislation to secure broad political support for meeting these goals over the next 15 years. They could include the creation of dedicated institutions to advise on implementation, awareness campaigns to bring the goals into the public consciousness, and multi-stakeholder forums to help monitor implementation. And they could also include changes to both domestic and foreign policies so as to mobilize the resources and the other tools of regulation and taxation needed to make this transformation happen in good cooperation between governments and private sector, including also the private financing, the capacity building, the technology, the data, etc., which are all part of the necessary framework. Similar signals are needed from other actors who have major influence over our social, economic, and environmental well-being. We need to see a response from the overall UN system, including the development system, global financial and economic decision-making bodies, and the private sector, the international financial industry, and of course, the civil society that was so important in bringing about the ambitious Sustainable Development Goals. We need to harness the interest of the millions of people who participated in the design of the SDGs through activities such as the global dialogues hosted by myUNEA.org. And we need to see action and engagement from our intergovernmental follow-up processes, actions that build on the positive spirit generated these past few years. That is where your work this week and that of UNEA comes in. The second UNEA will be the space where environment ministers and other actors will gather to discuss implementation of the environmental dimensions of the 2030 Agenda. It's an opportunity to create instrument strategies and collaboration that can translate into local action. Of course, implementation of the SDGs is not just about placing greater emphasis on social issues or, in your case, in particular, environmental issues. It's also about governing and managing our economies and societies in a manner that effectively balances each of the 3 dimensions of sustainable development. It is therefore important that your focus on the environmental dimensions extends to all of the SDGs, and that you and your colleagues engage in other fora where the environment is not the sole focus. We also need to ensure that the urgent action needed on climate change is not seen as separate from the action needed on the SDGs. In fact, climate action must be integrated in the larger framework where it belongs, the larger framework of the SDG implementation, and I hope that your discussions can help in this regard. Overall, I wish you the very best in your consideration of the key reports prepared by UNEP's Executive Director and his team. And I look forward very much to seeing the fruits of your labor at the Assembly in May. As a key intergovernmental checkpoint on the road to 2030, it is critical that UNEA provides us with the boost we need to get implementation of the SDGs off to the best possible start.